Today on What's My Car Worth, Keith and Josh visit Barrett-Jackson to check out some classic muscle and some new. In Florida, we'll see a Ferrari competitor that hasn't aged quite as well, and a great pony car.
'68 Shelby GT 500 KR 428 Cobra Jet. And the name Cobra Jet really fits it because it does feel like you're flying in a jet. You know, and it's funny to me, you have these big, huge steering wheels in the late 60s, early 70s, called road race cars. A lot of play in the steering wheel. For me as a driver, it doesn't make me so comfortable to go around those light turns, even more aggressive turns. It still feels like I'm floating. It's almost like I'm driving a yacht with more of a race car engine in it. Nice restoration on the inside. Doesn't feel over-restored. Feels like this has been driven. It does, however, feel like you are floating on the road a little bit, whereas some of the other cars that sit lower feel like you're grabbing the turns. This feels like you're more sitting up on the turns. This is definitely a driver. It's something you can get into right away. You buy it at the auction, you take it home, you drive it the next day.
Dale, you bought this car at Barrett-Jackson a couple of years ago. When it was on the block, what caused you to put your paddle up?
You know, I've always been looking for a part of that Shelby history, and it's a great, great driver car. I've enjoyed it for the last 3 years. This is time for someone else to get to enjoy it now.
It's a special order color, too, isn't it? I've never seen one this color
It absolutely is. It's a metal lard yellow. It was a special order paint, and this is a highly optioned car as well. Came with all the creature comforts that you'd want in a nice driver vehicle.
The panel fit was really, really nice around the car. The only thing I can do to kind of bring it down is the panel fit on the front hood. Overall, the car sits beautifully, but because of that, the condition on this, Keith, is going to be a 2.
In terms of collectability, if this were a GT350, a 65, it'd be an A. But it's a 68 cars. They didn't really race these cars. They were really more of a muscle car and a small body, big engine, small body. So it's going to be a B. What's that hammer going to fall at?
I'm thinking it's going to fall at 110,000, Keith.
Where my heart is on this car, I think probably $100,000 is where the hammer's going to fall.
I'm okay with that. I've enjoyed the car. It's been a great car. One of my favorite cars in my collection to drive, and I can be happy with that.
I'll be sitting next to you when it crosses the block.
Sounds great.
Dale was pretty confident at $110,000, but the GT 500 KR just missed the 6-figure mark.
'15 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. Now this is a muscle car. Whereas the old muscle cars, it kind of felt like it was top heavy and kind of out of control. This feels like it's a muscle car that's on steroids, but in total control. I mean, this is the Hulk of muscle cars. You know, coming in at 2015, you would say this car's not really a collectible, but it's got a really special story to it that we're gonna find out more from the owner. It's all luxurious, it's all modern, everything is on the screen in front of you. One thing I like about it too is the front windshield. It's wide, it's open, really not much obstruction. You have this huge muscle engine underneath. Right when you give it gas, it's like a slow roar and then it takes off.
Daryl, why'd you bring this car here?
I brought this car here because after I bought it, I discovered that it was a test car. It was the first Canadian Hellcat. It's also the second Hellcat built right after the Barrett-Jackson car that sold last year for $825,000. And the car after this is VIN number 2, so it's kind of weird.
Let's talk about this car in terms of value. You're going to have to create the value for this car, because with a classic car that's 30 or 40 years old, people kind of already have a sense of what it's worth. So how are you going to create the value? How are you going to convince somebody to pay more than sticker for this car?
Well, it's really going to come down to the people that are bidding. And creating the value is going to be in the rarity, those certain aspects of the car that no other car has. And I don't think you're going to find another Hellcat that has anywhere near this kind of provenance.
How did you deal with condition on this car, Josh?
I mean, obviously, guy, it's a brand new car. The condition, it's a 1.
But because it's a new car, the collectability ratio is going to be low because it takes a while for the collector car world to kind of sort out how it feels about a car. Collectability today, see, visit me in 25 years, see if it's changed. Let's talk money.
My prediction is 125.
But you're taking a flyer, really.
Really, yeah.
And $1.25. I'm with you to the buck. I think it's about $115,000. I hope it hammers at that, and I hope you go home to Canada with all our American cash in your pocket.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you so much.
You bet, guys.
Twice, $17,000, third and final call on the car is sold, $71,000 jet ride.
Daryl's Hellcat struggled to find the bids, hammering for far less than the 125 grand he wanted. After the break, Keith finds a polarizing British car at Auctions America.
'86 Lotus Esprit Turbo. Last year of the original Giugiaro design, the wedge shape, the one that James Bond made famous when he drove it into the water and it became a submarine. Elon Musk bought that car and is turning it into a real submarine these days. This car's got about 47,000 miles on it, and it's fairly presentable, but they don't age well. Even on this car, the paint is cracking and you can see the leather pulling away from the dash a little bit. To get the supercar performance out of this thing, you have got to have it up on the boost. And once you're up on the boost, you have to stay on the boost. So you have to hit red line, crack a shift, bury your foot, hit red line, crack a shift. That means you can have a great time, but you're busy. Dash layout is pretty good. I can see all the gauges. They all seem to be working. You don't have great visibility out the front. And to the back, you've got engine slats. They're obstructing your vision. But you know what they say about supercars is who cares about what's behind you? Because they should just be getting further and further away all the time.
So Keith, you got a chance to take a drive. What did you think?
I thought I wanted to drive off the pier into the water and go underneath. I wanted to be Elon Musk with my submarine James Bond Lotus.
It unfortunately doesn't have that option on it.
It's very aggressive of him.
Yeah,
to drive it off of a pier.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely doesn't have the option, but that was my first experience with an Esprit. I've just completely smitten by him ever since.
How was it driving it?
Well, the turbo is a little complicated actually with this car. The engine itself is a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder, so not a lot of horsepower. So you have to get on the turbo to make the car work. When you get on the turbo, you're really going somewhere, so you can't really use it unless you're out in the country.
I saw some major things. You know, there were scratches and nicks in the paint that were actually easily identifiable just sitting back. It looks like there's some panel fit issues around here. Also, if you see on the inside, the door panel's coming off. There's some chips right here near the windshield wipers. Overall condition on this, even though it's a Lotus and I want to go no lower than a 2, condition is a 3.
You know, Scott, you love these cars, right? You've got several at home.
I do.
It's kind of a tough love, though. They don't age very well.
It's all about basically its ownership history. I mean, the tough part about these cars is that, you know, when they did depreciate, they were low for such a long time that people just, man, I can get into a Lotus for that kind of price. They got into them when they found out what the cost was, they got neglected. And that it's finding the right car, a nice car, a documented car. That's the key with these.
I think all those not very nice condition Lotuses have brought the collectability down. That's why I'm going to give this car a C.
What do you think it's going to go for when it hits the auction block?
I'm thinking 32.
I can almost get to 32. I like the color on this car. I can overlook the imperfections. I can't go past 30.
I think we're in the ballpark. I think it's close in the ballpark.
I feel like he's
30.
negotiating in his mind right now. I think we're in the ballpark.
He's thinking 31 now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe 31, yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
The bidders in the room love the Esprit almost as much as Scott, with the hammer coming down at $30,000, just shy of what Scott wanted, and right on Keith's estimate. Sal from Pennsylvania sent us photos of his very impressive 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7. With the chestnut brown metallic paint, white interior, and white power top, this is one of one. Sal restored the car himself, and it is numbers matching. With just under 2,000 built that year, Sal's Mercury gets a C in collectability. Is it worth 40, 55, or even 75,000? Find out after the break. Coming up, we'll see the original pony car in Fort Lauderdale. Sal's 70 Cougar XR7 is a particularly nice example, and with the options making it one of one, it would be at the higher end of the market. Even though collectability is only a C, Sal should expect at least $55,000 at auction. To have your ride evaluated, email us at myride@whatsmycarworth.com.
You know, in 1965, this was the Mustang we all wanted. Think about it. Unusual color, kind of a graphite gray with red interior, convertible, V8, 4-speed, air conditioning, GT package, horse interior, power top. This car is completely loaded, and it's a period sports car. Power steering is a little numb, like you would expect from a car of this era, from an American car. Brakes feel good, not over boosted. They're power front disc brakes. Shifts well, the linkage is just a little bit vague. The hot ticket in these cars was the 271 horse engine. This is a 225. It's not breathtaking, but it's got plenty of power. This comes with its original window sticker, which will prove that it came with all the options that we see here. And my goodness, it just has them all. I love the GT gauge package in these cars. It was an option. The base gauge package just had gas and temperature and a speedo in the middle, whereas this has the 5 gauges plus the rally pack on the steering column here. Now you have to watch the gauges. There's no warning light that's going to pop up to say, oh, you're overheating. But that was part of the responsibility that went with owning a car back then, that you were expected to pay attention to what was happening. All that's past now because cars are better and they don't need our attention. At the same time, you don't feel affection for a car in the same way if it doesn't require you to pay attention to it.
Tell us a little bit about your car right here.
Well, I got an auction a couple years ago, and I live in Florida. Just a great car to go to the beach with, take the family out to dinner, fun to cruise around, a really nice driver. What I really loved about this car was, I think, the color pops. This is a very unique silver gray color. The interior pops with it, so I get a lot of compliments. It's been a lot of fun.
I looked around the whole car. I couldn't see that much wear and tear. The condition on this is really great. And he's saying as a driver, but I'm going to tell you the condition's a 1.
I've always thought it was a terrific car. That was the reason I was attracted to it, and I always thought it was in great shape. So I agree with you.
Okay, collectability. Convertible Mustang, V8, well option, very solid B.
How much do you think it's going to hammer at auction?
So, given that I've taken a look at some of the Haggerty tools and looked at some of the other auctions, it's kind of all over the board, but my sense is it's going to go for about 60.
I think 60 is a little strong. When I'm looking at this car, I'm thinking that $50,000 is what it's going to hammer at.
You know, you are the guru, and I do look at your, I do feel your opinion is takes a lot of merit, but I think you might be a little light, and we're just going to have to go see.
We'll find out.
40 mid, 45, 42.5, 35. I get 42.5, 45. I get 42.5, 45. I get 42.5 with a 45 with a 45. 45, 47.5. I get 45 with a 47.5. 45 with a 47.5. 45 with a 47.5 going what?
47, 46, 47, sir, to you. At 47, 46 bid, 47.
46 bid with a 47. I get 46 bid with a 47. Bid with a 47. 47, thank you, 48. I get 47 with a 48. Johnny, you got me 48. I get 48, now 49. 49, now 50. 49 bid with a 50. I get 49 bid with a 50. Now 50, now 50, now 50, now 50. 49 bid, 49, 5. Now 50, now 50. 49, 5, 50. 49, 5 bid with a 50. I get 49, 5 with a 50. Now 50, now 50. 49, 5 with a 50 once. Johnny said he's done 49, 5, 50 twice. So 49, 5, you got it here. 49, 5, thank you.
James was a bit strong on his Mustang, but Keith nailed it at 50 grand. Ken from Alamo, California, sent us photos and a description of his 1981 Mercedes-Benz 380 SL. These cars haven't quite stood the test of time, although Ken's example is in very good condition. But due to high production totals and a lack of interest from the market, it scores a D in collectability. Is Ken's car worth $15,000, $20,000, or $25,000? Find out after the break. After the break, Josh goes for a ride in one of the ultimate Ferraris. Ken's 380 SL looks great. There's no denying it's in fantastic condition, but the D in collectability definitely hurts the value. There may be a time in the coming years when the desire to own one of these picks up, but right now Ken should expect about $15,000 on the auction block. To have your ride evaluated, email us at myride@whatsmycarworth.com.
It is exciting. You really are driving a piece of artwork. The inside of this is absolutely gorgeous.
So 275 GTB is really sort of a gentleman's express. It's a luxury car. You have plenty of creature comforts. There's all this wood. It's leather. It's beautiful.
You know, in this car, it's not the original engine and the original gearbox. How much do you think it makes a difference when you get to this level of car once it crosses the auction block?
You know, it certainly does make a difference, but in the case of this car, it has been certified by Ferrari Classique. It is coming with its red book. So for a lot of buyers, the factory says it's right, it's right.
You know, I know the suspension is a little bit different on this, and it's kind of the first of its kind in this era. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, well, the 275 GTB was the first road-going Ferrari model to have four-wheel independent suspension. Ferrari's game was always about adapting its competition technology to its road cars, and so they used that independent suspension, which gives this car absolutely fantastic handling, balance, and poise on the road.
And it feels very much like a race car, but yet it's a little more comfortable. And as you said, it's got all the creature comforts that you could really ask for, and it is a fun, enjoyable drive. It's not stiff, and you kind of feel refreshed even when you get out of it a little bit.
It's just, you know, it's a joy to drive. It's comfortable, it's luxurious, it's fast, it's fun. I mean, you can drive this car through the Arizona desert probably all day long at 150 miles an hour and never break a sweat in absolute comfort and luxury, and that's kind of what it's all about.
Gord, there are a lot of variants of this car. Walk us through the different engines and body shapes that they made.
This is what they call a 275 short nose. And by the end of '65, they noticed that at high speeds, the front end wanted to lift on these cars. So they extended the front nose to what they now call a 275 long nose. And they built steel cars. They built them in aluminum. They built two-cam motors. Then they built four-cam motors and different carburetor setups. They had 3 carbs, which was the standard, and then the one that would be a little more hot rodded up was a 6-carb, and a 6-carb 4-cam alloy is the pinnacle of the 275.
So this is the first iteration of the 275.
That's right. They built around 250 of these cars before they went to the long nose.
And I tell you something, 250 of these, you're looking at this one specifically, and it really is special. I couldn't find any flaws on it. It really is beautiful. And Keith, once in a while, you come across a car and you go, this is it. Condition on this guy's definitely a 1.
Where do you think it ranks in collectability?
Come on, we all know what it is. It's gonna be an A.
That's right. So now we've agreed on collectability, we've agreed on condition. Now let's see if we agree on price. What's it gonna sell for, Gord?
I think this car is going to bring $2.4 million.
I don't think 2.4 is unreasonable, especially this is a Classique certified car. It's in its original color. But I think the market is just kind of calming and maybe even pulling back a little bit right now. So I'm going to say 2.2 is the number on this car. Does that seem fair to you?
We'll find out.
All right, well, we'll see what it goes for at auction.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, what should we say? We're going to open the bidding here at $1 million. Thank you very much. $1 million. Do I have $1,100,000? Thank you. $1,100,000 I have. Merci. $1,200,000 I have bid from France. $1,300,000. $1,400,000. Do I have $1,500,000? $1,500,000. $1,600,000 avec toi. At $1,700,000. $1,800,000 now. 1,750,000. Do I have $1,800,000 from you now? We're at 1,700,000. Lots of discussing going on there. 1,800,000. What should we say, gentlemen? $1,850,000 then. Do I have 1,900,000? 1,900,000. $1,925,000 I'm bid. Do I have 1,950,000? Hopefully you're more generous than this gentleman. Well, if you're out then, I shall sell at $1,925,000 and it's going for the first time. I'm selling the car, ladies and gentlemen, at $1,925,000 and it's going for the second time. Third and last time. If you're sure you're out, all done, all finished. Fair warning. Sold. Very well bought, sir. Well done.
The 275 GTB didn't quite break $2 million at RM Sotheby's, but Keith was closest at $2.2 million. At Barrett-Jackson, Dale's GT500KR just missed the six-figure mark, hammering slightly under Keith's estimate, while the 2015 Hellcat disappointed Darrell by selling for only $71 grand. At Auctions America, Keith was spot on with the Lotus at $30 grand, while James saw his Mustang hammer right around Keith's estimate of $50,000. Today on What's My Car Worth? So, what's your car worth? Find out now with the industry-leading valuation tools at Haggerty.com.